The Devil Wears Prada 2 trailer has just dropped, and it is forcing us to look at the outdated version of feminine success that I think we can all agree we have outgrown. The one that's built on perfectionism and pressure and pretending like we weren't exhausted. You know, this era that I'm talking about, the era where being a successful woman meant being flawlessly put together and permanently stressed and emotionally unavailable. The era where exhaustion wasn't a sign that something was wrong, it was a status symbol. The era where we believed the highest compliment was, "I don't know how she does it," instead of what it really meant, which was, "I hope she's okay because that woman has not blinked in 4 days." Now, if the original film taught us anything, it's that women were conditioned to believe that the only path to power was through self-sacrifice, burnout, and the emotional range of a fridge. And now, almost 2 decades later, the sequel is nudging us to ask, why did we ever believe that that version of success was the only one available to us? And why is it taking us so long to outgrow it? I'm Dani Watson, and welcome to She Leads.
Welcome to the She Leads podcast, a space that empowers women like you to build success in a way that feels authentic, energizing, and aligned with who you really are. In a world that tries to convince us that success means hustling harder and following everyone else's rules, we're here to rewrite the script. This is about success that feels nourishing, not depleting. Success that brings the fulfillment, impact, and recognition you deserve, whilst ultimately giving you the financial power to create the future you want and inspire meaningful change in the world around you. Make sure to hit the follow button so that you never miss an episode, and come and say hello on Instagram. You can find us at she_leads.academy. Let's dive in.
Hello, ladies, and welcome to a brand new episode. Hi, I'm losing my mind over here watching the new trailer for The Devil Wears Prada 2. I don't think it's out for a while. I think it comes out May 2026, so we have got a while to wait. But I am very excited. I loved the first film, and the internet, I think, also collectively squealed once the trailer was released. But watching that trailer reminded me of the Miranda Priestly blueprint, the one that so many women internalized without even realizing it. So for a solid decade, Miranda, she wasn't just this character in a film, she was what people believed they had to be in order to be super successful. Miranda Priestly was, for many women, a career aspiration. Not consciously, of course. Nobody said, I want to terrorize my co-workers and emotionally disembowel everybody. Nobody consciously thought, I want to be Miranda Priestly, but subconscious programming. This means that your brain can actually pick up a whole belief system without you ever consciously agreeing to it. So the stories that we grow up around, stories about who women should be in order to succeed, they sink in quietly, and then they start steering our decisions before we even notice. So what we repeatedly see becomes what we believe, even if we never consciously chose it. Now let's just think about the Miranda Priestly starter pack. You've probably owned some of these items in this starter pack. Miranda taught an entire generation of women that feminine success looks a certain way. So you have to be permanently busy. Like, that is a non-negotiable. Maybe emotionally unavailable, unless, of course, somebody's dying or somebody's annoyed you. Feelings, they are for amateurs. Except, of course, disappointment. Disappointment, that one I think was basically marketed by Miranda Priestly as this kind of leadership strategy. And then also, if you're not working 14-hour days, are you even serious? Because apparently the fastest way to credibility and success is chronic fatigue. Rest, of course not. Boundaries, no. And life, absolutely not. Now, I know this doesn't just apply to women in the corporate spaces. Women in business have also absorbed the same unspoken rules. Hustle like your worth depends on it. Prove yourself through exhaustion. Be rigid, be intense, be on 24/7. Make your whole business your personality if you want anyone to take you seriously. And for the love of God, don't let anybody think you have free time or hobbies or joy, because that's how women lose their authority, apparently. Now, the message was loud and clear. If you wanted success, you had to give your entire life to your work and maybe keep a little bit of soul left over for the weekends, maybe. And we, as ambitious, overachieving, approval-seeking women saw this and thought, okay, noted. This is what success must look like. So when we're watching The Devil Wears Prada, we're not just watching a character, we're letting a story slip past our logical brain and straight into the part of our mind that forms beliefs about the world. So when we're watching a movie then, these are emotional experiences. Your brain relaxes, your guard drops, whatever you're seeing starts to feel familiar, normal, believable. So even if you'd never consciously say, I want to become this Miranda Priestly version of success, your subconscious is quietly taking notes like, oh, so this is what a powerful woman looks like. And this is why media matters more than we'd like to admit. Now, your brain has two main operating modes. We've got our conscious brain, which is logical, it's analytical, it's also very skeptical. And then we have our subconscious brain, which is emotional, it's impressionable. Guess which one gets activated by movies? It's not the one that fact checks, it's the one that remembers feelings. So, when a story pulls you in emotionally, your brain processes it almost like a lived experience. So your brain doesn't necessarily register that this is a fictional character and the storyline has been crafted for entertainment. It says, okay, got this is how things work. And that's how stories bypass logic and shape our identity. And it's why you can watch 90 minutes of Miranda Priestly and internalize that powerful women must be cold, they must work hard, they must look a certain way. You're not doing this intentionally, you're doing it emotionally. Now, I think what's really interesting that our beliefs will get programmed by films like The Devil Wears Prada, but they don't necessarily get programmed by all things that we consume. So let's take a Disney film, for example. A Disney film, we kind of know that it's a fairy tale. Realism, however, it hits differently. So Disney, it gives us singing crabs, it gives us flying carpets, and our brain labels it instantly as fantasy. It's cute, but it's not necessarily applicable to my real life. But The Devil Wears Prada, that isn't fantasy, that's aspirational realism. So we see offices and deadlines and careers and expectations and bosses and ambition, and it mirrors the exact world that we live in. Even if it is exaggerated, it feels familiar enough that our brain says, so this is the blueprint. Now, your subconscious can't tell the difference between accurate and emotionally believable. It only knows, does this feel like the world that I'm a part of? And in 2006, and honestly still in many ways, Miranda's world did feel like a version of ours. Male-dominated industries, women fighting to prove themselves, ambition dressed in this coldness, success requiring sacrifice. So instead of categorizing Miranda as a fictional character, our subconscious categorized her as data. So in other words, we don't internalize the singing crab in The Little Mermaid. We internalize the career woman suffering quietly in her, stilettos and power suit. Disney gives us this dream, but Miranda Priestly gives us this blueprint. And even if that blueprint is extreme, our subconscious doesn't need it to be true. It just needs it to be familiar. Our subconscious is incredibly simple compared to our conscious mind because it doesn't fact check things. It doesn't analyze nuance. It doesn't pull out a clipboard and say, this seems like an exaggerated performance for dramatic effect. It only asks one question, which is, have I seen something like this before? And if the answer is even remotely a yes, if it feels familiar or emotionally recognizable, the subconscious files it away as relevant information. So even if this blueprint, the image of this powerful but exhausted woman is extreme, our subconscious doesn't need it to be true. It just needs it to match something that we have witnessed in our real world. So maybe it's that female boss who had to be hard to survive. Maybe it's a female leader criticized the second she showed emotion. Maybe it's a mother who burned out trying to do it all. These real life experiences make the fictional blueprint feel familiar. So it's like your brain says, oh yeah, I do actually kind of recognize this vibe. And once something feels familiar, your subconscious treats it like a pattern, even a rule. So the blueprint doesn't become true because Miranda Priestly existed on our screens. It becomes true because our world contained just enough versions of Miranda Priestly's for this story to feel believable. And that's why stories like The Devil Wears Prada shape us in ways that maybe Disney doesn't. Our subconscious sees places of reality in them. And when fiction resembles your lived experience, your subconscious quietly updates its software. It goes, so this is how women succeed. This is what leadership is supposed to look like. This is the price of ambition. So even if we consciously know it's just a movie, emotionally, it becomes this map that guides our professional life. Now, I have had my own Miranda years. I think we all have at some point. Maybe you're still in your Miranda Priestly era. That chapter where you're trying so hard to be professional and working so hard and hustling and feeling like you have to show up in a certain way to be successful or to be taken seriously. I think I spent years in my Miranda Priestly era trying to be this woman who looked like she had it all together when in reality I was just underslept, overworked, overcaffeinated, definitely underhydrated. And the wildest part is that was what I thought success looked like. I thought I was doing it right because that's the Miranda Priestly blueprint in action, not consciously, but subtly in the background, telling us that this is how it's supposed to be. Now, the antidote to the Miranda Priestly era is feminine leadership, leading from alignment and presence and intuition and self-trust and ease and joy. But, plot twist, women resist this hard. Not because we don't want ease, we crave it with the desperation of somebody who hasn't peed since 9 a.m. We resist it because slowing down and resting and going with the flow and just allowing things to be fun and joyful and easy, these things feel suspicious. For a woman raised in hustle culture, feminine leadership almost sounds like somebody's offering you a free puppy from this white van. We just don't trust it. We don't trust anything that isn't hard or punishing. So we hear words like ease and flow and rest, and our brain goes, this sounds like a scam. Because for most women, the idea of success without suffering feels like a fairy tale. And we were trained to believe if it feels good, it doesn't count. If it's easy, it's probably not real success, or it is a scam. If you enjoy your work, you're not working hard enough. And if you're not stressed, something's probably wrong. And if you slow down, everything is going to fall apart and, you're just going to die alone, very unsuccessful and unfulfilled. And this is why feminine leadership for many women doesn't feel like a solution. It feels like a trap. Because feminine leadership asks you to do things like to trust yourself and to slow down and to feel your feelings and to honor your energy and to rest without guilt and follow what lights you up and just let things be simpler and easier than you perhaps believe they need to be. We resist feminine leadership because it threatens the version of success that we were taught to worship, the version rooted in overachieving and overfunctioning and overriding our own needs. It asks us to redefine success in a way that doesn't require self-abandonment. And this can actually feel terrifying, but it is also the most liberating shift a woman can make. Once you stop equating exhaustion with importance, you start leading from this place that's truer, deeper, far more sustainable. This is feminine leadership. And what most women don't realize is this is the way to your next level of success and impact and wealth. Not the version you thought you needed to be to get there. And it's the part of the story that Miranda Priestly never taught us, but the part that I think many modern women are finally ready to learn. That success gets to be easy, it gets to be fun, it gets to be something that energizes you rather than drains you. And if you are ready to step into your feminine leadership era, maybe for you or for those that you want to lead, then I invite you to join our brand new She Leads Inner Circle. We already have over 2,000 members inside that have been enjoying this space. So if you are ready to take that next step, I'd love for you to join us. You can visit she-leads.co/membership for all of the details on how to join. I can't wait to see you on the inside.
If today's episode lit something up in you and you are ready to build a coaching business that not only changes lives but creates the income and freedom you deserve, then right now you can request a free trial of our She Leads Academy coach training. To get your free trial, just head over to Instagram and visit us at she_leads.academy. You will find the link to the free trial in our bio. I cannot wait to see what's possible for you.